The Washington Commanders held a walkthrough practice today. At least that's what we saw in the media, where guys were just going over plays, practicing, and getting prepped and ready for Saturday's 12 p.m. matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. And I think for this football team, they're looking for their identity. They're still searching for it. I think we saw a little bit of it, ironically, without their most physical running back in Brian Robinson, who, as you know by now, is probably on his way out of Washington. But you saw the identity still start to be formed, and they ran the football, and they ran it effectively. You look at Bill Merritt, the rookie running back, he looked sensational. Chris Rodriguez, entering his fourth season, he looked really good as well. Jeremy McNichol, Austin Eckler, you didn't see a whole lot of those guys, but they're locks to be on the roster. So the question now is, as far as some of the younger players, this is their opportunity, coming up Saturday against the Ravens to make the roster. So it's going to be a make or break football game. As far as Dan Quinn, the coach, he spoke to us. He did talk to us briefly about Terry McLaurin as far as the ramp up for him, as far as getting him prepared to be able to physically come out here and practice.
The return to play part that's the good news. So we're out of the rehab phase with Terry. His ankle's good. He's healthy. So now it's a return to play. What goes into all that at that position specifically, like the max speeds, the decelerations, the route tree of going through that. So that's kind of the good news of where we're at. It's just conditioning and football and returning to play. And so almost all the guys are at some phase along that way. You're going to see McGee at practice. You're going to see Baptiste, they just have kind of gone through that process as well, where they're out of the rehab portion of their, returning to play. And then it's back into like the football simulated work. So, yeah, we're excited that, he's back and getting better conditioning and getting things going.
And then he also talked about Brian Robinson and that he feels like, there could be a resolution really soon with that. So there's going to be a lot of storylines, a lot of things that we'll be discussing. Another practice is in the books here at the Big Bear AI Performance Center. Get that name right.
I'm telling you, brother.
And I have my good friend on right here, Chad Ricardo from Fox Channel 5 in the area. And we did something earlier,
that's right,
and it didn't get out to the masses.
It didn't get to you all.
Exactly. So now we have it, and I wanted to bring him on and get his take on the first two preseason games.
Sure.
Naturally, New England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not so much in that New England game. And for all of the Washington Commanders fans, we knew going into that game, Lake, that some 30-plus of the starters as well as key players were not going to play in that game. So it wasn't the final score, people. It's never about the final score in preseason. It's about the way that you play. The team looked sloppy in that game one performance, had penalties, were uncharacteristically undisciplined. Those were not the marks of a Dan Quinn team. Knew that they had to get it right for game two.
Yeah, and I was there in New England, and I can tell you after that game he was upset. You could tell that they were going to ramp up practice, and they did.
Yes.
And last week the practices were more physical. They were more intentional.
That's right.
And I think we saw that. I know that they lost the game, Saturday night.
Sure.
But with that said, on Monday night, with that said, I thought the starters played really well.
You got to look at this. The offensive performance, especially because this is an offense. It's no secret to anybody out there that Terry McLaurin, 17, is not here. No story to anyone that 85 was not there. But I tell you who was there, Lake Lewis. I'm not even going to start with those running backs. I'm going to begin with that offensive line, because that offensive line out there on Monday night was opening up holes like, I don't even know what they were opening holes like, Lake, because I haven't seen
potholes.
They were potholes. They were the size of glaciers out there, and the running backs took advantage of that. Brian Robinson out of this game as well. What you like to see is people, when they get their opportunity, they stepped up. Rodriguez, a 40-yard run off of the bat. Debo Samuel took an end around, showing the weapon that he is out there, 19 yards off the bat. And, of course, Bill JCM, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt with a big-time run and touchdown run as well. Jaden Daniels looking amazing.
Yeah, they started the game off, and you could tell they wanted to establish the trenches.
Yes.
They did that on both sides of the ball. It wasn't just the offensive line. The defensive line was getting after it. And I specifically wanted to bring this person up to you on the defense.
Yes.
People aren't talking about him a lot. But Jacob Martin is touting to have himself a camp.
Jacob Martin really doing an outstanding job being able to set that edge out there as well as get some pressure on the quarterback. And look, like anybody who bleeds burgundy and gold and who is a fan and or watches this team knows that what is important is how this team can play against a Philadelphia Eagles team. That's the litmus test. You needed this up front. So you look at Martin out there doing the daggone thing. You look at my main man 9-1 out there getting it done out there as well. Dietrich Wise setting that edge, rushing the passer, and also a name that you won't hear a ton about, but I'm a big fan. I know you are as well. Cleveland Farrell, Richmond, Virginia native, down here in the DMV, rushing the passer, able to help to stop the run as well. They did all of those things without the presence of a Von Miller, of a Wagner, or of a Louvu as well. So the defense played well also.
Yeah, I mean, another guy too is Javon Kinlaw, and he's just getting better and better and better. And if you think that this is a fluke, because there's some fans saying it's just preseason. Well, if you're going to use that narrative,
sure,
use it for everything. Right. If you're going to use that. This defensive line's looking really good.
Well, that's important because preseason, no preseason, postseason, in the middle of the season, what translates is the play in those trenches. And you're seeing the offensive and the defensive line oftentimes 1 versus 1s, and they're getting it done. Here's a body in front of you. Who's going to win that battle between those 3 inches? And the Washington Commanders are doing that more so than not, at least in preseason game number 2.
So preseason game number 3 is coming up Saturday, 12 o'clock start. I think we all want this whole thing to get over with so we can get to the regular season. I don't think we expect to see Terry McLaurin in the stadium on Saturday. So we don't really need to talk about that. We know the story there. But I want to talk about a couple storylines. Are there any younger guys that you think are really on the cusp of making the roster that may need this game against the Ravens to kind of catapult and put them over the top?
I think that is an outstanding question, and those are the stories and those are the questions that we look at when it comes to this preseason game number 3, because you're not going to see a Jaden Daniels, you're not going to see any of the first team, very few of the second teams. This game is all about making that final 53, and as DQ often likes to say, it's the final 63 or so because the practice squad is considered members of this team as well. So what young men can go out there on that playing field with their backs against the line, one game to solidify that spot and then go out there and do it. We know that Bill, the 7th round draft pick, obviously he has, by all intents and purposes,
solidified
made his way
himself
out here. That's right. I would love to see what Kane can do out here. Can Kane be one of those speedy linebackers who ends up not only earning a spot on this team, but ultimately earning some playing time on the field as well? You got Ja'Cory Brooks out there who has wowed some people. Can he, from the wide receiver position, make the active roster as well? So this, all about active roster spots. You got your moment, like Eminem said. Can you take advantage of it?
Another guy that has to take advantage of it is Demetric Felton.
Come on.
I think Demetric Felton has shown a lot in this camp. You know, number 25 shows speed.
Yes.
He can catch the ball at the backfield. He does special teams.
Sure.
But now, Brian Robinson obviously more than likely won't be on the roster. Sure. Can he be the 4th running back, or is it going to be the vet who they love, Jeremy McNichol? So there's still some opportunities for guys to still make plays.
Yeah, and even we'll take it a step further, like QB3, right? QB3, will it be Sam Hartman? I've got an interesting take on this. Will it be Sam or will it be Josh here? By all intents and purposes, in the 2 games, Josh has outplayed Sam, but if we're being real, Sam is JD5's dude, bro. That's his guy. And if Marcus Mariota is healthy, how important is it? Because there are people watching right now saying, Chad Ricardo, your boy don't got nothing to do with a roster spot. Right. When you're a young quarterback, and one of the most important things you can do is to keep your young quarterback comfortable and happy. Yes. If Mariota is healthy, does Sam Hartman make this team? That's a question.
I think that's a fair question, and it's a question that I've asked as well, because you already have that vet backup in Mariota.
That's right.
Do you need another one in Josh?
That's right.
Josh has outperformed Sam. Let's call it like it is. But the most important person in that Big Bear AI Performance Center building is number 5.
That's right. That's right.
So that's an awesome point.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I think Josh makes it. I think Sam, may have a mysterious ailment, illness or ailment come up, and he'll be on the practice squad.
Gotcha.
But I think he's part of this franchise, and they like him.
That's right.
He struggled a little bit, but we've seen glimpses of him play well.
We've seen it.
Absolutely. Last thing for you, big guy on the end.
Yep.
Josh Connolly's looking really good. Each day, each practice, each game, he's excelled.
Josh Connolly, I think that when you have the opportunity to be here every day the way that we are, Josh Connolly Jr. some 3 months ago when it was rookie camp, and don't at me and tell me that the time frame is wrong. Whenever rookie mini camp was, Josh Connolly looked like the 21-year-old that he is, right? Like he presented that way. Now, he's beginning to look like a young man off of the field and especially onto it. You see his versatility. You see his ability to pull and get out there and anchor a block. You see his ability to be able to win the battles at the offensive line. You see his ability to pass block as well. There is no secret whatsoever why Josh Connolly Jr. was a first-round pick and could be a bookend tackle for this team for years, if not a decade to come.
So, you look at Andrew Wiley. He's played well as well, and he's a veteran.
Yes.
But when you take people in the first round and they've proven to you why you've taken them, you start them. Would you be shocked if Josh Connolly is the opening day starter at right tackle?
Shocked, I would not be. I would not be shocked. I think that what we've seen from Dan Quinn and his coaching staff is that they have proven time and time again when Jaden Daniels, again, if you're watching at home, you may not be aware of this, but last season, JD5 was not handed the starting spot. He had to earn it. He had to grow. He had to develop. That's the same thing that has been done with Josh Connolly here. So it wouldn't surprise me if Connolly and Wiley don't rotate in and out in week one, regardless of which one of them gets that start, because I got to tell everybody out there, you look at this New York Giants team that the Commanders are going to be facing in week one. Don't let the Giants record last year fool you. They got some dudes, especially on the defensive line side of the ball. This offensive line will be tested. They'll be tested early, which means that Josh Connolly Jr. will have an opportunity to show up and show out.
Folks, this is why I wanted to bring him on. The energy, just the love of the game. This is what we do. And you can check him out more on Fox Channel 5. Chad Ricardo, my guy. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Lake. I appreciate
man.
you.
Okay, so we'll be back out here tomorrow for Thursday's practice. And after tomorrow's practice, we'll get to a normal schedule that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. Training camp officially will be over after tomorrow, although there's still, more practices and things like that before you get to that week one game against the New York Giants. So here from the Big Bear AI Performance Center, that's right, folks, it's newly named as of today, I'm NFL insider Lake Lewis Jr.